Unscalable things are what scale you. Sounds backwards, but it's true. Today we're breaking down stuff we've done and stuff we've seen that costs almost nothing, but creates customers for life.
Yeah, I love this one. This is it's like one of my favorite topics. It's one of the hardest things to do consistently, and sometimes we suck at that as well. But I love this stuff, and I truly believe this. And the great thing about what we're going to talk about here is that there's a way to do this in every business. This is not like just an e-commerce thing, which we talk about a lot. It's just like you can do some version of this in every business, and I really haven't seen many examples of somebody doing it consistently where it hasn't been a benefit.
Oh, what's crazy, preface to what you said, I've done a lot of this stuff, and then I've kind of fallen off doing a lot of this stuff, and I've done a lot of this stuff. And so it's actually hard to be consistent on the unscalable things. And that's why they're unscalable, right? They take time, they take effort. So I don't know. I brought a few examples today. I hope you brought a few too, John, because to me, I love this subject as well. So look, I went to a mastermind in 2019, and I learned from a guy named George. Shout out George Bryant. And George taught me what's the number one thing you want someone to do with your product. And most people forget this, is what he's saying is you want them to use your product. So he referenced I think we had a guy there who was selling keto cookies or something like that. And when we were riffing on it, I had mentioned, you probably don't want this lady to get the package and have it just sit on her counter. How many of you people at home get a package from Amazon and it just sits on your counter, or maybe you ordered that and then you put it in your pantry and you kind of forget about it? And so the advice to him was immediately have an email sequence that says, the moment you get this package, actually take it out, go put one in the stroller. So next time you're at the park and Billy shit his pants and you're like, oh no, and we need to have dinner, you don't run to McDonald's. You pull out this bar because you remember, or this cookie, because you remember you had this cookie, and you don't break what you're trying to build here, which is your new lifestyle, right? And so I really took that to heart. And at the time I was part of a golf simulator company. We were selling golf simulators through our e-commerce store. And I was like, how can I bring this to this sector, right? How do we get someone to actually use their golf simulator? Now, it's actually harder than you think. People are paying $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 for these simulators, but you still have to set it up. You still have to set everything up. At the time, you had to get your own gaming computer, which this company actually solved by private labeling gaming computers. Who would have thought you could do that? And so we sold most of the pieces. You still need some other pieces. You need to set it up. You need to calibrate it. You need software. You need all of these things. And so it's challenging to get somebody to actually use it, right? I certainly have bought things that I thought were a great idea the moment that I ordered them, and they've sat in the garage, or they've sat in the entryway, or they've sat in the basement, and my wife has nagged me about them, certainly, right? I think my sauna sat in the garage for about a week before I was finally like, okay, let's put this sauna together. So we had the same problem with golf simulators, John. And I wanted to dream up a way to get people to actually use the product. And the beauty of a golf simulator is there are lots of things you can do with it, not just play golf. You're actually going to get better at golf using some of the features that are in there. And I wanted to bring this to life. And so I dreamt up this thing that we called simply the box. The box was a place you could go to ourwebsite.com/box and see everything that's in the box, how to use it, and how to make the most out of what's in there. So the very first thing that we dreamt of to put in this box was a bag tag. So a tag that would go on your bag, and on there would be a space for your sand wedge, your pitching wedge, your 9, 8, 7, etc. irons, woods, things like that, and exactly how hard or how far you hit them. So I think anyone who's a golfer, you think you know how far you hit a golf club. But first off, you suck. You don't hit it in the sweet spot every single time. You're hitting it all over the place. You have no idea how far you hit it. But assuming you get better and assuming you hit it well every time, it's going to be a very important thing for you to know how far you hit this. And that's where a simulator can come into play, because it can literally measure how far you're hitting every single club. And so go to /box, watch the video on how to do this, set up your simulator, fill out your bag tag, and then bring that bag tag to the course so that when you gun it down and you're 162 from the pin, you know, hey, for me, that's an 8 iron, or for me, that's a 7 iron, or whatever it is. You know exactly how far to hit it. From our point of view, you now have a bag tag on your bag that someone's going to go, first off, they're going to know you're playing better. You're going to start taking more money from your friends, so they're going to ask you questions. Then they're going to see the bag tag and go, who the heck is this company, right? And you're going to, I bought a golf simulator from this company. They're going to see how far you hit everything. They're going to get curious. It's going to be free advertising for us. So that was just the first idea of what to put in this box, right? The next one was probably the simplest thing we could do, was throw a sleeve of Pro Vs in there. If you're a golfer, you know what Pro Vs are. They're the number one ball in golf. They're expensive. It's like $60 for a dozen golf balls, which is, I would love to know Titleist margin there. I would really love to know behind the scenes how much money they're bringing in at Titleist on Pro V1s and some of the other companies on some of their balls. But we knew, one, people love Pro V1s. And two, when you hit a ball with an iron, there's grooves in your iron. And so they cut the golf ball. And they cut in there. The grooves grab the stickiness of the golf ball. And they end up cutting your golf ball so that you get more spin on your shot. Now that's intended, right? And that's good on a golf course. That's really bad on your screen. So if you can picture what a projection screen looks like, you don't want a cut ball hitting your projection screen and cutting your screen. And so it was our opportunity to give them some logo balls, make them feel good. They got a sleeve of Pro V1s. They were thrilled. In fact, we probably should have just bought a box, given that our margins were so incredible on these huge simulators. Our balls are going to get sprinkled around a course. They're going to end up at lostgolfballs.com. They're going to end up at BK's house in a bucket that I bought, from lostgolfballs.com. I'd be so freaking thrilled if I ran into one of our balls. That'd be amazing. But also, they're going to learn that they got to recycle their balls as they're playing. Again, it'll be at /box, right? So there's so many places we could have gone with this box, John. A very, very simple one was to give them a water bottle. I want to believe that 2019 was a little bit early for the water bottle craze. Now everybody has one, right? My wife has 14 water bottles. I'm curious, does your wife also have 14 water bottles, John? Is that a thing in your house?
She's got a few. She's got a few.
Okay. Yeah. Our house is wild. We have a whole cupboard dedicated to water bottles. But we wanted to hand out a water bottle with our logo on it, right? And the purpose is you want your joints lubricated. Golf is hard on your joints. It's really hard on indoor golf. And so you want your joints lubricated. You want to stay hydrated. Here's our water bottle. We hope they carry it with them. We hope somebody asks about it. We hope they bring it to the course, things like that. It'd be very easy to throw it in a green pick. If you don't golf, that's when your ball hits the green. Greens are pretty soft, and so it leaves a divot. People with a good heart go up there and fix their divots, and they fix them correctly so that the green looks good. Other people leave them like fucking assholes. But for the most part, you're going to want to go clean up your divot on the green. So all of this stuff we could put in a box. They're going to get their simulator. We're going to ship them this box like a week later. They are not expecting any of this stuff, right? So they got their simulator. They're thrilled. Maybe they already put it together. And then this box shows up and they're like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I have all the pieces to my simulator. What could this box be? And it's a pretty big box. And we had custom branding on there. We had foam inserts. I wanted to believe that when this arrived, someone would be absolutely thrilled, right? And they would be thrilled to see all this stuff. They'd be thrilled to see all the free videos and training that they got at /box. But I actually wanted to go one step further, John. So we dreamt up another way to continue down this path. And this, honestly, I probably heard this from you because you care more about customer satisfaction than most people I know. And so I don't know whether you put the little earworm in my ear, shout out RFK. Oh, that's a good joke. I don't know whether you put that in my ear or not, but sorry. But I wanted to continue pleasing them, but I wanted to know they were happy. So you teach often in our Dropship Breakthrough course and in videos that we've created, call your fucking customers. Call them afterwards and say, how did you like this? And so we made it a point 30 days after a sale to call these people. But we didn't just do it to ask them how they're liking it. We asked them that. Hey, how are you liking it? How's it set up? We actually did this to confirm that it was set up, that they were playing, and to confirm their last name. And so you might be asking, why do you want to confirm their last name? It's already been delivered, whatever. Our plan was to have a 19th hole sign and say, for you, it'd be Warren's 19th hole. Because we assume they're putting this in their man cave. They're putting this in their garage. Most people who golf, they sit around afterwards and have a cocktail or two, right? They make an adventure out of this. And if it's going to be an adventure in your home, why not have this be a Warren's 19th hole sign? And again, now you have just another thing to talk about. And I want to believe that if you got a simulator from us, if you got a box from us, if you got all the free training from us, and you got a 19th hole sign and you're super satisfied with us, you are more likely to tell somebody about our business, about the simulator that you love, about the service that you got, about how amazing our company is. And as you know, John, word of mouth is the biggest marketing channel on the planet. So that was my whole dream. I have some bad news after telling you all of that, John. I left the company right as we were about to launch this, and I left the company 2 days before the world shut down. Actually, 1 day, I believe, before the world shut down. And this never got launched. They blew up so hard from COVID, they didn't have time to get this going because so many sales came in. So I don't think this ever got off the ground, and I would really, really love to rewind time and push a button and just see how did this work? Because to me, I don't know, pick holes in that. Tell me what you saw in there that you didn't like.
Hey, John here for just a sec. You know how we're always breaking down these wild business ideas and road testing opportunities that other podcasts won't touch? Well, we're growing our own business here. This podcast, and we need your help. So here's the deal. If the Low Bar podcast has given you that holy shit I can actually do this moment, or just made your commute less boring, help us out. If you're watching on YouTube, go and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify, go to our profile page on Spotify and smash that 5-star button. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, hit the review button and leave us a review. It takes you just 30 seconds, costs you nothing, but helps us reach more people who think starting a business is rocket science, which it's not. And it will also give us the momentum we need to do even more fun and crazy business stuff right here for your entertainment. We love to keep it real with you. Now keep it real with us. Let's grow this thing together. I mean, I think that sounded like a pretty solid thing to put together. I mean, it's always the question about, is it affordable or that sort of stuff? You know, like you said, we're talking about high ticket products in that particular example, albeit not consumable products. I think for different businesses, there's definitely different takes on what you would do here based on the nature of the original product that you're selling and that sort of thing. And how, like, which lever would you push on? Like, for example, if you've got a service-based business, word of mouth is important, but what's probably a little more important as well is getting people to come back and use your service again, right? And so what you do to encourage that in terms of going above and beyond with every customer might be a little bit different to if you're selling a $7,000 golf simulator. Or likewise, if you've got, you know, like a consumable product business, you know, you have the pet supplements, which is a lower ticket product, but one that people can buy again and again and again, and you need them to buy it again and again and again. What you do in the beginning to encourage that may look a little bit different once again. You might have a different set of ideas because once again, yes, you want word of mouth to get out about it and you want to do something that encourages people to say this was a great experience, but really you also want them to come back and buy a second and a third time, which means to do that they really have to use the product even more so. Like if they I'm sure you know this, I'm not preaching to BK on this one, but like for anybody who's listening out there, like your number one thing is actually getting them to use the product so they can feel the benefits, and then they can say like, I need to order more and more and more of that product because it's so good. So yeah, no, I like the golf box. I mean, I couldn't poke any holes in that. It sounded like a pretty. There seemed like there was a good rationale behind all of those products, and so I think there was a good mix of just like some straight up branding stuff and also some stuff that actually helped the person, you know, get extra value out of the product and or use it.
Yeah, my only regret there is just not knowing what happened, because like your boy comes up with a million ideas. That's kind of part of what this podcast is just, you know, riffing on some of the crazy ideas in my head. And I really like this one. I really, really like this one. And look, you know, my former partners, well, one of the former partners still owns the business. Maybe I could reach out to him, send him this episode and say, hey, you should do this again, man. Like it just seemed like such a good idea and such an opportunity to stand out. Again, this is not scalable. In fact, you're eating into your margin, but no one else is doing this shit. No one is setting something up like that. And now that's above and beyond. We had huge margins, you know, selling high ticket products. So it's a little different, but no one's doing that stuff. And you know, I hope someone listening to this goes, oh, fuck, that gives me an idea in one of my businesses or one of the other things that we talk about.
There's like some really good, really massive examples of doing this stuff as well. So, and I'm going to probably entirely condense the story of this one, but one that jumps to my mind is Stripe, which it's a software, it's a payment processor and all of that sort of thing. It's not a physical product. Now Stripe's everywhere. Like it powers a massive percentage of the world's like online transactions, credit card transactions and all of that sort of thing. But of course, at some point it was new. And one of the ways that they got traction early on with Stripe, like it didn't just explode automatically. Like they had to really work for it because it was a new thing. And it was kind of really simple compared to the existing methods of taking payment for credit cards, which were very complex to implement and all of that sort of thing. But even so, they went and had their developers offer customers, as in people with websites that they were looking to connect to Stripe, to implement the whole thing for free. So like hands-on, they would go into your business and actually implement it. So Stripe would pay essentially for people to start using the thing. They would sink that cost up front, and that was like a service going above and beyond to make sure that people use the product. Do you know what I mean? Because they knew that like if they could just take that hurdle of getting people to use the product, out of the road that it was a great product. And people would be like, holy shit, this works really good. And so, you know, we probably talk about a lot of physical product examples because we kind of come from that world. But like this literally applies to anything. Like that's a software type product, and the same principle applies. Like if you can grease the wheels of your customer's life as far as your product's concerned, like it's going to help. It's not scalable. Like they couldn't have done that forever. They weren't going to pay forever to get every single somebody out to every single potential customer's business and set it up for them and do all of that sort of thing. But it's what they needed to, or one of the things they needed just to get traction and to get people talking about it. And then they could kind of, you know, scale that back obviously at that point in time once they had the momentum.
Most nights, my brain won't shut off. I'm lying there chasing new ideas, diving down rabbit holes, thinking through business problems, all of it. I can't turn it off, and honestly, I don't even want to. I fucking love this stuff. But I do need solid sleep if I'm going to show up as the best version of myself for my wife, for my kids, for my business partners, and for me. So every night I take Kill Switch from Switch Supplements. I've been taking it for years. I take a scoop, I watch a quick YouTube video, and within a half an hour, I'm out. It works every single time. My wife takes it. My employee takes it. We even gave it out at a couple of our live events and everyone loved it. If you're the same way, you can't turn it off, but you still want to win big the next day, go to switchsupplements.com/lowbar and use the code lowbar to get $10 off your first order. That's switchsupplements.com/lowbar and use the code lowbar. Sleep like you're dead. Well, look, physical products is where we come from. Let me give you another physical products that I was part of, physical product company that we did something unique again. So I owned Paramount Pet Health. We sold it almost exactly a year ago now. And I was partners in that business with Leanna Patch and Leighton Taylor. Leanna is a funny copywriter. She's also an absolute animal nut, crazy cat lady, I like to call her. No offense if you're listening to this, Leanna, I love you. But she wanted to go above and beyond to these animal owners. So one of the things that she set up in that business was inevitably when you're selling supplements that help animals, with their joints and things like that and vitamins, no matter what you're helping them with, really, they're going to die. Look, I don't know, maybe you're listening to this, you don't realize that we're all going to die someday. And so we had animals die and people reached out and they wanted us to know, hey, I don't need this bottle anymore. My animal passed away. And if you've ever had a pet, you know how hard that is to go through. And the last thing we wanted to do was have them worry about anything. So obviously we told them to keep the bottle. We never took returns there. We just refunded everybody. Just, keep the bottle, donate it to a charity, give it to a friend, whatever. But, we took the time to send them a personal postcard. And we tried other things too. To me, that sounds very simple. That's something we should have definitely done. But I'm pretty sure Leanna made these by hand, if I'm honest with you. But we wanted to go further. We tested some other ideas. We tried to see if the owner could get us a photo of their pet, which most people, by the way, are really terrible at taking photos. So that no one really had a good photo, but we were trying to take that. We found somebody, I don't know whether it was on Etsy or Fiverr or something like that, but we found somebody who would do a custom drawing of their pet. And we were going to mail them, like a custom painting or something. It didn't work super well. Again, most people take really bad pictures, John, like really bad. Maybe it's because my wife was a photographer when I met her and she's taken a lot of photos. She's taught me a lot about framing and lighting and all this stuff. But I would say most people's photos were not conducive to us to be able to get that done. So I believe we did one or two. And then same with order milestones, right? We had somebody, I believe before we left, who was on their 30th or 40th order or something like that. And so anytime someone hit 5, 10, 15, 20, can we send them a letter and just say, holy cow, thank you so much for trusting us with your pet. And obviously this product is working. I blah, blah, blah. We'd get so much feedback from them too. I still have videos saved on my computer of people saying, here's Billy. He's an 18-year-old cat. He hasn't jumped on the couch in years and look at this. And, I don't know if you know what an 18-year-old cat looks like, John, but they don't look like they have any business jumping on a couch, let alone being alive, really. They are scruffy and not looking great, but to see the owner write letters like that and the responses you get on some of these things are worth it completely, 100% completely. I think there's a million more things we could have done in the pet space there, but I want to give props to Leanna. Leanna ran this whole program, and so I'm really glad it's something that we did while I ran it. I hope it's still being continued by the new owners. I can't say for sure, but I loved it. I would definitely do it again today.
Yeah, I think it really is a no-brainer. Particularly, you're in a space like pets, that's a cool, fun space as well. There's lots you can do with pets or something like that. It's a consumable product, so you want people to keep coming back. And there's, doing some of that stuff, it's easy. It's like you have to do it consistently, as we've mentioned, but like it's not hard to do some of those things. It's really not. And it's kind of fun as well. Like I think it's an enjoyable part of your business. All right. Well, I got a couple. I totally, you mentioned it before, that I put the earworm, like of calling your customers after the sale sort of thing. I totally hadn't even thought to bring that up on this podcast, but I do want to shout that out because once again, like it still blows my mind that so few businesses do this. I've talked about it for a long time for e-commerce businesses should do it. But like even I was sitting here just thinking about it and like I was thinking like I take my car, when it needs to get a service or it needs some sort of repair or something like that, I take it down to my mechanics workshop, which is just up the road here, just around the corner. And I thought about this. Every time I take it down there and it comes back, like 3 or 4 days later, they call me on the phone and they're like, "Hey John, I just want to make sure everything's okay with your Land Cruiser or whatever, whichever car I've taken in there. Is it driving okay? Have you got any concerns about it or anything like that?" Like every time they do this, and they always have. I've been going to the same guys for about 4 years now, I want to say. They do it. And then I thought back, and I've been to a lot of mechanics over the years. I used to work at car dealerships when I was a really young fella. And I've never taken my car somewhere where that's happened before. And it was just kind of like, it's such a small, like it seems like a small thing, but I just recalled it now while I was sitting here. I was like, holy shit, that's a business that does something extra. And once again, I can't believe that everybody's not doing this, but I feel good about it. And I keep going back there because I feel like they care about me, like personally. Like they're like, "How's your car, man?" Like, and I think it's such a smart idea to do. Not only does it stand out if you do it as something that other businesses don't do, but it also gives you some little advantages. Like you can leverage that into doing things like asking for a review or getting a review on the spot, which, particularly if you've got a new business, you need to get reviews. If you've got a face-to-face service business, like story, it's another story. Maybe I'll come back to it about reviews. But like it also allows you to head off angry customers, right? So if you think about that mechanic workshop, if I wasn't happy with my car, there's going to be 2 options for me. Like I might call them back up and say, "Hey, you guys fucked my car, blah, blah, blah. It's not running the same. Da, 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 da." And I'd yell at them and all of that sort of thing. But what some people do is they just don't say anything, but they never come back. And they go and talk shit about your business to all of their buddies, which particularly if you're a local based business, that's real bad, right? If you get a bad name in your local community, you're kind of, you're a little bit toast, right? And so if you're proactive about it and you call them up, not only are you wanting to like give people a good experience, and like have people tell you that they're happy and it's great, but you actually also want to hear from the people who are unhappy. Like you want to hear from them, all of them, because that gives you the opportunity to fix their problem and turn it into a good thing so that they don't go out and talk shit about your business. It's like you want to prevent that reverse word of mouth from happening. And the only way you're going to do that is if you get proactive about it, because it's really easy to fall into the thinking that every unhappy customer contacts you. They don't. About 1 in 10 people who are unhappy with a business will actually call the business up and tell them. The rest just shut off from you forever. Like they're just gone, but that doesn't mean they're not talking about your business. They're just talking about it in a bad way. Not every unhappy customer leaves a bad review either. Some do. The really angry ones do. They get on everywhere and they leave you a bad review everywhere, but a lot of them don't.
Shout out to George Bryan again. He called them anti-marketers.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're way more powerful than, like, that's word of mouth amplified in the reverse sense, right? Like you don't want those people out there. And so I love that one, John. People should call. Like anyone listening to this, if you have any business at all, just call every customer you have. And I can hear it right now. I'm sure people are scared. One, right? Like first get over you're scared. And then I can hear the other people who are like, yeah, that's a great idea, John. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead of calling them every time, let's turn that into a text and I'll just shoot off an automated text. Don't you think that'd be the same thing? What do you think of that? Because I know there's people who are like, automate. That's not the point of this episode.
I love automating things. And there are so many things in a business that you can and should automate. I don't think this is it, right? People can tell when it's automated. You can so often tell when a message is automated. And once again, yeah, maybe it's a little bit better than not sending anything, sure, but it's not going to have that real effect. Like there's no connection there. People won't feel special. And also there's not going to be any discussion there. Like once again, if you've got an unhappy customer, Like, you're not going to solve their problem just by sending an automated message that they'll probably tell is automated, which will probably just piss them off more. I think this is genuinely one of the things in your business that you shouldn't automate. And I don't think that's a problem, because I think the benefit of doing it far outweighs, at least, once again, particularly for an early stage business. Like, yeah, if your business is 10 years old, would you continue doing everything you could do here? Maybe not. But like, in the beginning, you should 100% be doing it, and it's 100% worth the time. I think if you're sitting there and you're fearful of doing this because you're going to hear people blow you up on the phone, that's an automatic sign that you have no confidence in your business or the products you're selling or the service you're delivering. Like, if you genuinely are behind your business and you think you have a great product, what are you fearful of about talking to people about your product?
I think it's a what if. It's a what if, right? What if someone says this, or what if someone, like, it doesn't come to fruition, right? You end up hearing somebody say exactly what you said, like, oh, hey, well, wow, thanks for calling. That's actually really cool. You know what? Actually, I was having this problem, or this was going really great, and you guys did this little thing, or like Sally, left this little thing in my car, and like it was really great that they did X, Y, or Z. Like, you're gonna end up hearing things that are super beneficial and things that you can lean into. Oh, yeah. Not just the negative, right? But I think it's the what if. I think it's the what if I hear blah 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 about my business or whatever, and wouldn't you want to hear that anyway?
And you're and you learn so much from doing it. From actually doing it, not automating it. Like, those conversations, it's even other side benefits here. So your customers are going to give you free ideas about how you can grow your business. Not all of them, but some of them are going to be like, well, yeah, I'm really happy, but it would have been great if blah, 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 blah. Like, this had have happened. And you're like, oh shit, I've never thought about that. And then you could talk to two or three other customers, and you could go like, hey, would you have liked it if we did this? And they go, oh yeah, I would have liked that. You hear it from a few people, and you're like, now you're on a winner. You found you've identified something that might help more people buy from you or grow your business or something like that. So you just learn so much from talking to the people who actually buy your product, your service, whatever it is that you're selling. There's just not a single world where that practice is not going to deliver more value than the 2 minutes it takes you to pick up the phone and actually do it. And I don't give a shit if you're the founder or how important you think you are or how busy you think you are. You have time for this. If you say you don't, you're an outright liar. You're just a liar. I will call you out right now. You're a liar. You can find time for it, and you should do it.
In a physical products business, you might learn other products you can sell, right? Somebody might say, hey, I bought this, but you know what? When I bought this other thing with it, it actually like really made my deck great or something, right? Or like, hey, I bought the pellet grill from you, and next week I ordered Wagyu steaks from First Light Farms, and I cooked it on there, and it was one of the greatest things ever, right? And like, now you can reach out to First Light and say, hey, how would you like to offer a coupon to all my customers? And now that becomes something as part of your offer of like, hey, buy this pellet grill and also get a 25% off coupon at Certified Piedmontese or First Light Farms or something like that. Often in physical products, you end up stumbling on gold when you make these phone calls. Like, it ends up being such a great thing that you will not regret this one. That rant that you did in the basement, we went into a basement and recorded a podcast in one of the skeeziest places in Minneapolis I think I've ever been to. You had a whole rant on this call thing that was gold. We ended up chopping it up into a couple different podcasts, if I remember. But yeah, you ranted pretty good in that studio.
Yeah, that's an old school, what was that, 2023 on the Dropship podcast, I think. Yeah. If you want to anyone wants to go back and find that, that's a fair ways back in the episodes of the 200s, I would say, somewhere probably. All right, so I got another one that kind of flows on from this that I've done. Once again, this is one that I definitely get inconsistent with myself, and I have to like pull myself up on from time to time. I've done it really well at times and then not really well at others. But so there's a tool called Bonjoro. Bonjoro.com is the website there. I know, Ben, I know you've used this for years at times. I've definitely been using it for years now. It's been around for a while now. But essentially, like whenever somebody has various interactions with your business, so they buy something from you. It doesn't have to be buy something from you, though. They could have some other interaction with your business. It could be a customer service interaction, potentially. It could be they could have opted in for something and they haven't actually bought from you yet. But essentially, it's a platform that can pull in people's contact details, like their email address, their name, and it provides a platform for you to really quickly and easily, and I mean so easily, it's literally so easy to do this, record them a video message, like so you can pull out your phone, there's an app on you, there's a phone app for it as well, so you can use it in a web browser, you can use it on a phone, and record a personal message and send it to that person. And it's going to send it to them via email. It's going to land in their inbox. It automatically associates a nice looking little template with it. And you can deliver, once again, a personalized message to them. It's a fantastic tool. It works very reliably in my experience. And it's just super simple. It can send you like little notifications when somebody takes that action. It's like, hey, you need to send a bonjour to blah, blah, blah. You can go in and see why you're sending it and all of that sort of thing. And so you can use it in different ways for sure. And I'm sure there's so many different ways you could use this. You can use it for something just as simple as somebody buys from you for the first time. You get on and say, hey, it's John here. I'm the CEO at blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to say hi and thank you so much for choosing to be one of our customers. If you need anything at all, just hit me up here. So they can reply to your message. And it's going to be like a personal reply, and then you can continue that conversation if they want to, or if you want to. And that's fantastic. You can ask them to interact with you that way. It's a personal experience. They get to see your face. They get to see, there's real people behind whatever the brand is. It doesn't have to be you either. While I haven't done this, you can have people on your team do this. So like, you got somebody out on the floor, and I think maybe you've got a story about this from a brand that you bought from. Somebody out on the packing floor, like picks up their phone and sends a message and says, "Hey, I'm somebody from the team here." It could be anyone. It could be your customer service person. It could be whoever. I'm somebody from the team here. Thanks for being a part of what we do. I just wanted to reach out and let you know we've got your order. Blah blah blah. We're doing this with it. Etc. Etc. And you could even have a little series about that as the fulfillment of that order goes through the system. Even you could have someone from the CEO. You could have one from the customer service person. You could have one from the person on the floor. So you can do that. You can also use bonjouros to help you with product stuff, like using the product stuff. So like, hey, they've had their thing delivered now. Now they've got it. So you could send them a bonjour to say, hey, thanks for buying from us. Really appreciate you. We love you. It's on it. It's about to be there. It's on its way. You can have another one after it's delivered. Like you get some notification from the shipping company or something, product's being delivered. You wait a couple of days. You're going to send them on, hey, I saw that you've got your thing. I hope you love it. It's fantastic. Here's some tips about using it. One question lots of people have is, how do I do blah, 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 blah? I just wanted to make sure you understand this is what you do. If you've got the product there as well, you could even show them this is what you do if it's like an easy one. So you can really send people a string of these personalized messages. They don't all have to be 100% personalized either. So if you had a video where you were showing somebody or answering a common question about the usage of a product, you could actually just record a video and send the same video to everybody who needs it. You don't need to press record and actually record it every single time, although you could. So there is a level of reusability with the videos that you put together. But what Bonjoro doesn't let you do, and I actually applaud them for still not doing this, is they don't let you automate it. Like you cannot automate the sending of videos. You have to actually manually get in there, choose a video or record a video and send it to somebody. Now you can send it to 5 people at once, but you can't automate it like you can an email autoresponder. And I think that's really good because part of the point of using these sort of things is that it's personalized, right? That's the power here. And so they do make it difficult for you to try and automate it, which I think they should. And I think that's a good thing for them to be doing. I'm glad they still do that. They played with it a little bit over the years, but it's really cool. And so once again, your mind might go to, wow, it's going to take too long to record videos and blah, blah, blah. And like, I have to call myself out on this as well. I'm inconsistent with this sometimes. I've gone stretches where I've done it really well and hit all the ones I wanted to send and all of that sort of thing. And I have other times where I'm like, oh shit, I've just forgot to do it or whatever. Getting your team involved with doing it definitely takes the pressure off one person doing it all the time, I think. If you've got the capability to do that in your business, I think that's a great idea. It also will give your customers like a better idea of who your business is, what it is, that it's actually a decent business and there's real people behind it and they're nice people and all of that sort of thing. I think that's a great message to send. But literally, it can take you 30 seconds to send one of these videos. Like 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds.
So one of the things I loved about the company is like when you open the message, it's like a GIF, right? Or a GIF, whatever you prefer. But you can start with waving, right? So it sees it's a real video. Then you can personalize it and say their name, right? So we would do this at the pet supplement company and just say, hey, I saw you ordered this product. Here's what we've seen people have success with. You're going to want to do this. Make sure you shake the bottle, give this dosage. But I really want to one-up you, John. I'm actually going to one-up you. I'm going to record one right now in live time because I don't give a shit. So here we go. I'm doing one literally to one of our customers right now. Hey, Ann, this is Ben. I just wanted to reach out to you and say thank you so much for watching our webinar. If you have any questions whatsoever, just hit reply to this video. It'll literally come to me. I'd be happy to answer your questions. But the most important thing to do right now is start. Like you can sit there and waffle on whether you should build this business or not build this business or how hard it's going to be or whether you'll pick the right industry. But the reality is you have a dream to change your life and building a business is your path to doing so. So you need to start. There's a link below this video. Click that link and use the code START now. I'll give you a nice little discount on our course. But the most important thing is you take action. Start building that business of your dreams. And me, myself, John, our team, our community, everyone is here to root you on. So I hope we see you inside the course. That's it. That's how simple it is. And you just hit go and it sends it for you. And then it tells you when they open it or not. And often you'll get replies literally in real time of like, holy shit, that was really you? Like you actually took the time to do that? Again, unscalable things are what really move the needle in your business. John, I'd be scared to know how to use this at the maximum potential, right? Like, we have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group that funnels people in. We have $27 offers and $9 offers and full course offers. And we have students who have been around forever. I can think everyone who's watching this can probably think of multiple places in their business. Like, I think you could use this a lot, right? Thinking back to what your mechanic did, if they sent you a Bonjoro saying the same thing, that'd be awesome too. You know what I mean? I think this tool's underrated.
I absolutely do. I mean, this is kind of like the phone call. The phone call, I think, is still important because it's about you can have that live backwards and forwards conversation with somebody, right? So this doesn't replace that, but like there's a face, right? There's a face. Like this is video, and so you're adding imagery and the actual face, and that old saying, an image is worth 1,000 words. Like now I can see you. You're like really real to me. So obviously if you have a physical service type business, yeah, people are probably going to see you or your employees and they know you're a real person and all of that sort of thing. And you might not need to do this one as much because you could just go and stand in front of them and do the Bonjoro kind of thing and say thanks and ask them questions and help them with that sort of stuff. But particularly if you're like an online business or a business where you're a distance away from your customers and you don't get hands-on with them, they can now see you. So you're real. You're a real person when somebody can see your face. I think there's a lot of power in that, but you're right. The mind could probably blow at the number of different ways that you could use this sort of tool to add value to the customer journey for sure.
All right, so I actually saw this show up. I want to say I talked about this in 2020. Phorm did this. I was impressed with what they did. I'm still impressed. In fact, I just pulled up the old tweet. Maybe I'll throw a link in the show notes to this old tweet. But essentially, I was on their site. I was consulting somebody who was selling very similar products to what Phorm was doing. So I went to their site. I'm going to go through their funnel. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see how I can help my consulting client be as good as them, if not better, right? So I went there. The first thing I noticed was the moment I put enough in my cart, I got hit with a pop-up. And I just assumed it was like, hey, save 10% today by signing up for blah, 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 or something just not good. But actually it was good. It was like, how would you like a free t-shirt? And it was just like, pick your size. They called it a mystery t-shirt. And I was like, okay, I'll take a free t-shirt. I had no idea it was because I hit a certain threshold, right? And I believe I was buying their greens product just for context. So I put their greens and like fish oil in the cart or something like that. Yeah. I get to checkout and they had more tricks up their sleeve at checkout. They asked me for my Instagram handle at checkout. I can't say I've ever been asked for that anywhere in a checkout process. And I was like, why would they need my Instagram handle? But I wasn't stupid enough not to put it in there. Of course I'm going to put it in there. Maybe Phorm's going to follow me, John. That'll be great. I didn't know why they needed it, but I put it in there. This happened middle of the day, like early to middle of the day is when I placed the order. And within a couple hours, I had a notification on my phone that said, you have a request from Phorm HQ and it was like Benjamin Broderick was the name on there. And I was like, what the? So when you go into Instagram and you go into your DMs, you have to approve a video request. Now I assume it's in there so that ladies don't get dick pics or God knows what else shows up in people's DMs.
Yeah.
But when you see First Phorm HQ and you know you gave them your Instagram, you're probably like, oh my God, did I win something? Like I had to click to see the video. There's no way I was not allowing this. And they requested a follow as well, I would imagine. And so I hit play. And it's very much like the Bonjoro we just did, except, like you mentioned, it's the guy in the warehouse. He's holding up a box and he's like, hey, just packed up your order. It's actually going to go out today. Super thrilled. I threw something a little extra in there for you that I want you to try, and blah, blah, blah. And that was it. Like, that was the video. And I was like, holy, it was really thoughtful. Thanks for joining the family. I think they use a PH on that stuff. Branding. So I'd heard before that they also include a handwritten letter. And so when I got the box, I was actually expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it to like be long. So there's a picture on my X on how long this is, but it's like the invoice, and it's the whole top half of the invoice of like, thank you. Your support means the world to us. I love your order today. I take my Opti Greens and Reds every day. As a thank you, we are hooking you up with our Microfactor. Microfactor is so important for your health as it brings together 6 different blah, blah, blah. And it just goes on and on and on. And they threw in the Microfactor. So like, not only did I get my greens and my reds and my fish oil, they threw in a whole nother product of like, hey, try this too. How would you not be like blown away if that was the process that you went through, right? You went there to try a product and you ended up with a whole nother product for you to try. You ended up with a free t-shirt that, I'm a big dude. No matter what size I get, it's going to show my belly. Like I need it tall. So I don't even know what happened to that t-shirt, but it was nice. It was very soft. Thank you, Andy Frisella. Thank you, First Phorm, for that. It was really cool. That experience was really cool. I definitely, showed this to my consulting client. I tweeted about it. I wanted to make sure, hey, dude, this is what you have to compete with if you want to go compete with a brand like this. But I was blown away, like honestly blown away by like the little things. And to me, those little things are what make a massive difference in your business. So I don't know whether they're still doing any of this stuff today, but I wouldn't be shocked if they still are.
No, that sounds nice. I like that. And don't see it enough, if I'm honest. Like I see it, little bits of that from some online businesses and e-commerce businesses I buy from, but I would still think I'd be seeing it more these days, and really not.
So look, speaking of the handwritten notes, what do you think about that, John? Like that's a lot of work. And I know you can have your team do it, and there's probably some people listening here who don't really have that many orders, right? Like we come from the high ticket dropshipping world where an order a day is $100,000 a month potentially, right? And so that's very easy to do on an order today. But when I was selling pet supplements and we were selling lots more than one a day, that could be time consuming. What do you think about handwritten notes? Is that something you've ever done before?
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise, I did it in the beginning of my very first business, which was Chic Chandeliers, which is not online anymore, but it was chicchandeliers.com.au. You can find it on Wayback Machine. And I did that in the beginning. I want to say I did it for at least my first few hundred customers. I did stop doing it after a while. I didn't do it forever. But I definitely did it for every order in the beginning. I would write up a note and I would send it to them in the post. I think I would send it put it in the post the next day. Like I wasn't waiting a long time. This is back in 2014. I know these days physical post is kind of like, man, I can't remember the last time I got a piece of physical post here in Australia. I don't get much at all, which probably makes it even better if you did do it, if I'm honest. Like back then, you would still get like quite a bit of stuff in your mailbox. Like literally today, I don't get any at home at my home address. I get some at my business, but at home, I don't get much in the post at all. So if I had a letter come that had handwritten address on the front, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Right? I'd be genuinely interested in it. I know if it's my mum because I recognize their handwriting, but outside of that, I'd be like, who's sending me a letter today in 2025, right? I'd be like, wow, that's different. So,
hey, real quick, here's a throwback for you, buddy.
Yeah.
If you're not on YouTube, check out this sweet looking John Warren from 2017. This site doesn't look bad until you get to that About Us page.
That was the better version of that site. That was not the first version. The first version of that site looked like dog shit compared to that. But yeah, that was me with the long hair. So anyway, I think that photo as well was actually my photo on the Teams page from the company that I worked at when I started my first business. I think I just downloaded it and pasted it into my e-commerce business. Anyway, yeah, this one is a bit more time, like compared to the Bonjoro or picking up the phone and having the phone call. This one is definitely a bit more time consuming for sure. I still don't think, once again, it's excessively time consuming, particularly if you're at a stage of your business where you don't have tons of customers. Like if you had one customer a day, like you were saying, to it for a high ticket dropshipping business or a higher ticket product business where you don't do a lot of volume of customers, I don't see how this is going too far. And so you could definitely do it. If you're in a different business and you had a lot of customers, like in the example of the first Phorm one that you just shared, like, I mean, that's a big company, even in 2020 or whenever you said it was. I mean, they were still pretty decent size back then too. You bring your team in on it. Like, if you've got a business where you're doing a lot of volume, you're not going to be doing all of that by yourself. You're going to have a team. So share the load. It doesn't have to come from the business owner. It can come from anyone in the company, really. And I guess that's the way to share the love a little bit, as it were, and share the load, I should say, so that it's not too time consuming. I think it's totally fine to do, but I think it has to be genuine. Like, people can tell when somebody with a pen has written on a piece of paper or not. I think it has to be genuine still. And so people would ask, like, can't I just get it like a handwritten printed note or something like that? Or get, like, there's companies who will do it for you and stuff like that. And, you know, I wouldn't say that's completely useless, but it's still not quite the same. It's not the same, I don't think, and it won't have quite the same impact, and I think people can tell a lot of the time with that stuff. Well, do you need to do all of the stuff that Ben and John have just run you through? And it's kind of like, no, you don't need to, but, like, I would pick one and start that. Because I think the important thing is consistency, right? Like, just pick something and get good at doing that, like, for every time. And if you can get good at doing that every time, then if there's another idea you have, start doing that as well.
I hate to completely turn the ship, but you said I don't get mail at home. Is that true? You don't get, like, loads and loads of, like, marketing mail? Is that not a thing in Australia?
It is. It depends. It kind of depends where you live in Australia. So, like, you will get lots. Like, if you live in certain places, you will get lots of stuff stuffed in your mailbox. Sure, but you can tell it's just junk, right? You don't get a lot of postal spam in Australia. Like, actually things in envelopes that look like actual mail. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get a lot of brochures or you can get a lot of brochures and that sort of stuff. But you don't get a lot of spam mail anymore. I think you used to more. I don't anyway, where I live. I think you used to more in the past, and there's a small amount of it, but, like, it's always like, to the homeowner or to this or something like that. And you just chuck that straight away, right?
So we get a ton here, like a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
A ton every single day. Now it's turned into text messages, and I get probably 5 voicemails a day offering me a loan. I'm pre-approved for this loan, and just like, but mail's worse, right? And sorry, when you said it, I was like, you don't get it. 1, and then 2, it brought me up. And I just texted my wife today to see if she had it, because I thought we should make a video about this on our channel. So it's filled out, but it's filled out with, like, lorem ipsum, right? So it's like, houses in your area are selling for brackets XX% more than in this area. Your house could be worth XXX. And I was just like, no fucking way did they do a mass mailing to the city that I live in with an unfilled out. Like, that lady, that's who I bought our house from, is the lady that. So I felt like reaching out to her and just being like, holy shit, man, what a fucking gaffe. Yeah, I see this shit all the time, and I really want to, like, put it on our social media. Like, that, to me, that is what, you know, we're talking about here. The bar is really fucking low. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. All right, I have 2 quick questions. We're getting a little long here, so I'll try to zip through them. One problem I want to solve. So I want to utilize this, right? And we're having guests on our podcast. So we had Shannon come on. We've had Nick Eubanks come on. We've got a few others in the pipeline that we want to come on, and hopefully a whole bunch more. We mentioned a lot of names here that we'd love to have come on here, and anyone who wants to come riff with us sounds great. But I want to thank them, right? Like, they're taking time out of their day to come hang out with us. And obviously, like, there's a benefit. There's an implied benefit there, right? When you go speak at a conference, your implied benefit is you're reaching that audience. But to me, that means a lot to me. It means a lot that Shannon Jean, who I've never met before, we interacted on X, said, hell yeah, man, I'll come on your show. And then now we've ended up, like, becoming friends. He's made some referrals for us. I talk to him all the time now. I want to say thanks to that guy, right? And I've known Nick for years. How would you go about this, right? Because it's not like a phone call. You know, Shannon had mentioned that he sent a personalized, like, fireplace, like one of those solo stoves. I think he said, like, a personalized one to Chris Kerner when he was on his show, and to Nick from Nickonomics, I believe, was the other one when he was on his show. And just, like, that's a good idea. I like that. For Nick, you know, maybe we've already sent this, maybe we haven't. Hopefully Nick's not listening. Nikes, like Michael Jordan's, right? And so, like, I know you can go get customized Jordans. Is that something we get for him? You know, I also know he's, like, really into supercars. He's really into his dog as well. Like, if you follow him on X, you're going to see that. And so, like, is it something more personal? Is it like a giftology approach, or, like, where does your head go when it's like, what should we do for our podcast guests so that, you know, again, they want to come back on. They, you know, I want them to leave with a great feeling of us. I also want to do this for friends. Like, I send something to our partners. I send something to people I've met. Like, it's not just a Christmas card. I end up sending nice gifts at Christmas too. Like, you know, I want I want to do this in my personal life too, but for podcast guests, does anything come to mind for you?
For that, and where the volume is relatively small, here, you know, like we're not going to have thousands of podcast guests a year on this particular show. There's one every so often. And for that, I want to say, like, the more personalized you can make something, I think the better. And personalized in the sense that you've found something that aligns with that person's interests or their life or who they are. And I think that's, I don't think the value is what's important necessarily. Like like you might say, oh, you know, you're potentially interviewing some people who have got money and they've got a lot of things and stuff like that, and you should be getting them something expensive. And I don't think that's it. I think the power here is in showing that you've taken an interest in that person and you've actually gotten to understand who they are and what they're into. And if you can deliver something to them that as a way of expressing your gratitude, that also shows that you care about who they are, I think that's the powerful thing, regardless of like how much did it cost and all of that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And so for a podcast guest like that, and it could be in you have your own business and you have people that you interact with who help you in your business, and it's not a super high volume. I'd say this is probably going to be the same answer for you. I think a unique gift, like unique for each listener, I mean, like not a unique gift in the global sense, but like I would think we would be finding something different for every person. It would take longer to find that. And once again, you could have a member of your team help you with that, or we could have a member of our team help us with that, just to find out, hey, go and check out this guy and let's see if we can find 5 ideas that might work for him, and then I'll pick one and all of that sort of thing. So I guess you could sort of get some assistance with it, or you could just do it. You and I could do it ourselves, but like that's where my mind goes to.
I actually think a lot of people have this mic, and like, you know, getting him a personalized mic plate like this, I think would actually be a really cool thing.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity as well that just came into my head. And yeah, personalize is challenging, but you know, I don't know if anyone's read that book, Giftology. That's kind of what they talk about, is how personal could you get, right? And so I've certainly helped a consulting client who wanted to land a client. We researched them on LinkedIn. We found out they went to Texas A&M. We found out that they were into travel, and so we bought them this big, elaborate like travel kit, all branded Texas A&M stuff.
Cool.
And like that got her in the door to like talk to the guy, right? Again, if you send them something and you want to talk to somebody, they're gonna open a package long before they open an email or something like that. And so I don't know what to do for podcast guests, but I hope we come up with something cool. I just want it to be memorable, and you know, a solo stove was a really good idea. Like if anybody actually sits outside it, you know, and sits around a bonfire, they're going to think of you every time they light that thing. And so, you know, what is that for us? I hope we come up with a good idea.
We will, but that's the way I'd go for sure.